Whoosh! You join us now. We were supposed to be talking about Godot 4 and Blender 3.1 and onwards. We're we are now not. we're in the general chat stage of things at the moment. So yeah, another thing about coding is that there are a million ways to do something. Yes, echoing what I just said. That's brilliant. And what makes it the right way is dependent on what you're trying to do. Yeah, I mean, I will. So in my previous life, so to speak, I operated mainly as a computer guy. I went round, fixed people's computers, helped them with training, and I went into small companies and homes. And one of the things that I'd often do is I'd sit there, and I wasn't that IT guy that would. So I'm going to hold my nose here. You're doing it wrong, because they were actually achieving the goal that they were trying to achieve. Now, I did step in if I saw someone doing something that compounded mean they were wasting tens of minutes a day because they just didn't know there was another way of doing it. That was where I thought actually a beneficial knowledge here is to speed things up. And so there's always going to be multiple ways of approaching something. And I can see this, one of the solutions for having faster renders is to get better hardware. But that's expensive. It can be cost prohibitive for many, many people. The other solution is to render it and go for a short walk. Actually get exercise in and feel better on your way back. There are multiple solutions to the same project. Another quick anecdote, because I absolutely love this one. Had a lady who was absolutely really, really stressed. She had a presentation to do at work and her laptop had packed up. And of course, she's 100% focused on the laptop's not working, the laptop's not working, the laptop's not working. Where all she really needed was to go and grab the file off of the computer and just put it on a colleague's computer and run it from there. She just needed that PowerPoint presentation or whatever it happened to be. And so this is where talking through with someone else or taking a step back from the actual problem that you've got, suddenly that person can just say one thing and you're like, oh, cool. Yep. And that you can refocus and just sidestep the problem and carry on.
I mean, Anarch points out that they struggle with walking away from a problem because the tenacity and stubbornness goes over. And it's very easy, and I cover this in our Creativity for Coders course, it's very easy to get into tunnel vision. This is the one thing I'm thinking of. And the problem with tunnel vision is you don't see the periphery. And often the way you reach a solution, I'm not going to say the solution, but the way you reach a solution is by combining ideas from different areas, from different fields. My favorite example of that is the guy who came up with the model for how electrons orbit atoms, which he couldn't figure out how it works. And then he took the night off and went to the circus and saw someone spinning plates. And it just gave him a new way of conceptualizing it, and suddenly he could progress. That's not the answer; it was his way to an answer, right? And I think there's a lot of that going on, and that leads back to imposter syndrome. It leads back to this and that. There is very rarely one answer, and while there might be wrong answers, it's usually not just one right answer. I used to tell my technical theatre students, the wrong answer is the one you didn't think about. And that doesn't mean everything you say is right. It means if you don't think about this in a creative process, if you just made an assumption or you've never questioned something, that's a mistake. Like that's going to come back and bite you. Every decision you make is a decision you should know you are making and have a reason why you're making it. You might regret them later, but they're not as bad as the ones you don't even realize you've made.
Yeah, I can sympathize with not being able to walk away and empathize with it. So it happened recently when writing the Python for this next section. When I was deep into the Python, I was thinking about things. I'd written quite a bit of unknown to me at the time because I was going backwards and forwards. I'd written a little bit of zombie code here and there, and it taking a step back and coming back in, I was like, oh, I don't need this bit, don't need this bit, and suddenly the code was so much cleaner after just a few minutes of break. I say a few minutes, like 90 minutes or so. Walked away and came back later. So sometimes it's best to one of my tips is to drink lots of water, and then you can't stay in one place for too long. Your bladder just won't be able to cope.
Unless you're like me, in which case you get such tunnel vision, you forget that you haven't gone up to go to the bathroom for 4 hours. You're in intense pain.
Okay, yeah, you could do that.
Right.